So now I will discuss the task number 7, which is describing the factors affecting the learner-centered psychological principle. So learner-centered psychological principles integrated research and theory from education and psychological prepared by the American Psychological Association that provide a framework for education and reform and redesign. So learner-centered psychological principle has 4 domains or 4 categories. So the number 1 domain, which metacognitive and cognitive factors. The second is motivational and affecting factors. The third is developmental and social factors. And the last one is individual differences factors. So first category or domain, which is the metacognitive and cognitive factors, which has 6 principles generally: thinking and thinking about thinking. The second one is the motivational and affective factors, has 3 principles belonging that appear to the behavior and emotions of the student learner toward learning. And the third is developmental and social factors. So covering the principles that are considered to external or contextual factors. And the last one has 3 principles under the individual differences factors, especially dealing diversity and standards of individual. So there are 7 factors that may affect the learning process. So number 1 is intellectual factors. Number 2, learning factors. Number 3, physical factors. Number 4, mental factors. And number 5, emotional and social factors. Number 6, teacher's personality. And the last one which is number 7, environmental factors. The first factor is intellectual factor. The term refers to the individual mental level. Success in school is generally closely related to level of the intellect. Pupils with low intelligence often encounter serious difficulty in mastering schoolwork. Sometimes pupils do not learn because of special intellectual disabilities. The second is learning factors. Factors owing to lack of mastery of what has been taught, faulty methods of work or students, and narrowness of experimental background may affect the learning process of any pupil. If the school proceeds too rapidly and does not constantly check up on the extent to which the pupil is mastering what is being taught, the pupil accumulates a number of deficiencies that interfere with success progress. So the third is physical factors. Under this group are included such as factors as health, physical development, nutrition, visual, physical defects, and glandular abnormality. It is generally recognized that ill health retards recognize physical and motor development, and malnutrition interferes with learning and psychological growth. The fourth is mental factors. Attitude falls under mental factors. Attitudes are made up of organic and kinesthetic elements. They are not to confuse with emotions that are characterized by internal visceral disturbances. Attitudes are more or less of definite sort. They play a large part in the mental organization and general behavior of the individual. Attitudes are also important in the development of personality. Among these attitudes are interest, cheerfulness, affections, prejudice, open-mindedness, and loyalty. Attitudes exercise a stimulating effect upon the real or learning and teaching and upon the progress in school. And the 5 is emotional and social factors. Personal factors such as instinct and emotions, and social factors such as cooperation and rivalry are directly related to a complex psychological of motivation. It is a recognized fact that various responses of the individual, various kinds of stimuli are determined by a wide variety of tendencies. And the 6th is teacher's personality. The teacher as an individual, personality is an important element in the learning environment or in the failures and success of the learner. The way in which his personality interacts with the personalities of the pupils being taught helps to determine the kind of behavior which emerge from the learning situations. In the other words, an individual's personality is a composite of his physical appearance, his mental capacity, his emotional behavior, and his attitudes towards others, the results of an integrated personality of the teacher. So the last one is environmental factor. Physical conditions needed for learning is under environmental factor. One of the factors that affect the efficiency of learning is the condition in which learning takes place. This includes the classroom textbooks, equipment, school supplies, and other structural materials. Learning is influenced by environmental factors including culture, technology, and instructional practices. Learning does not occur in a vacuum. Cultural or group influence on students impact many educational relevant variables, motivation, orientation toward learning, and ways of thinking. Technologies and instructional practices must be appropriate for learners' level of prior knowledge, cognitive ability, and their learning and thinking strategies. What and how much is learned is influenced by the learner's motivation. Motivation to learn, in turn, is influenced by the individual's emotional states, beliefs, interests, and goals and habits of thinking. Students believe about themselves as learners, and the natures of learning have a marked influence on motivation. Positive emotion generally enhance motivation and facilitates learning and performance. Mid-anxiety can also enhance learning and performance by focusing the learner's attention on a particular task. So that's all for the task number 7. So thank you.